Right, folks, we're finally at the end. We finally have our Sylvanas guide. Hope you've all been doing well. I look forward to seeing you all live very soon. Because by the time this is released, it'll be very, very close to the 1st of September, and I will be returning home very soon to you guys. But yeah, Sylvanas as a melee DPS, she's not the most fun fight in the world. Definitely something for us to work towards in the coming weeks as the guild transitions to Mythic. Hopefully, the guild will have killed a few extra bosses on Mythic by the time I return, but that'll be for a discussion for another day. So, going into the main scene and starting the video, you can see that we do the basic shenanigans. One thing that has kind of become apparent at this point is me trying very, very hard to be the silent pumper, and by that earning the cooldowns. So like, I got power infusion, my execution sentence is about to go, and all of a sudden I'm top DPS and I am beating our marksman hunter. I am very much trying my best to earn my spot as top DPS while bursting. The reason for that is because Sylvanas moves around a lot. She's not fun to fight with. So you can see that just as soon as that burst window ended, she leapt away. Now, this particular fight is probably one I would recommend using Cavalier for rather than Unbreakable Spirit, purely because of the amount of mobility required. There's a lot of dancing in and out during this first and third phase, but you'll see that as the time goes on. This is also a very, very long fight. The video itself is 12, nearly 14 minutes long. And you do get 2 bloodlusts in. Part of that is just because of how long phase 2 is. Like, phase 2 is a very, very long phase, and it's just trash. It's all just trash. But anyway, actually, on the note of trash, it just makes me think of Mechagon. Trash, trash, trash. And for those of you that don't know that particular voice line, firstly, welcome to the game. And secondly, I highly recommend you guys go Google Mechagon trash voice line. It's just after the first boss in the second half of Mechagon. I do miss that dungeon. It was a good dungeon. But yeah, back to Sylvanas. This first phase, I have 2 stacks for debuff, which is a bleed. This can be whether standing in stuff or she can just randomly target you. This can be bopped and bubbled off, but the proper way to clear this debuff is these purple circles on the ground. Some of them will spawn arrows. Domination arrows, and if you are chained to one, you will lose your stacks. Those chains will also then try and pull you into the domination arrows, and if you get pulled in, you then instantly die. So what you need to do is you need to kill the domination arrows. If you're chained to one, stay away from yours, kill the others. And if you'll see here that I just bubble and just detonate on those few. The reason for this is because I'm, again, trying to make use of cooldowns. I'm trying to take what I've learned in the last few weeks and make better use of my cooldowns. Now, because she's constantly moving around, and in this particular phase when she's doing Rive, she's taking no damage at all. She has like a 99% damage reduction. So holding your cooldowns for a short period and trying using them on the domination arrows is much more effective and helps the rest of your group out, because if you can kill 3 or 4 arrows quickly with your cooldowns, that means 3 or 4 people aren't chained anymore. And if you bubble, then it means you're not chained as well, which is always handy. So we go into stage 2. 30 seconds stun if you haven't seen the cutscene. It is bonkers. Thankfully, if everyone's seen the cutscene and skips it, the stun ends earlier, which is a bit of a relief. But this segment is run across these bridges, avoid Sylvanas' haunting wave, which is a knockback and also applies a dot to you, which does amount of damage. So you can see the drones got hit by a stack, and as a result is taking a considerable amount of damage. He gets hit by another one shortly, I believe, and then just basically drain life's his health back. Oh no, it wasn't this pull. It was obviously one of our wipes. But one thing that you do need to know going over these bridges is at certain points Sylvanas will cast Ruin. If that cast gets off, everyone dies. So you need a high amount of mobility. You need someone to get over there and kick it. We try to kick late so that everyone can get over and be ready to burst. Now, for this particular pull, I was very fortunate in that our priest, Crag, was giving me PI. The problem is, because I changed my tactic from just bursting every time my 2 minutes were off, it's slightly desynced from my wings. So I only got about 4 or 5 seconds with it up with my wings period. But that's something that I can work on down the line with Crag if I become the usual target at this point for PI. I was still able to climb some of the DPS meters, but this is one of the few points where you need to pump as much damage into her as you can, because after this you've got three platforms where it's just adds. So we're about to go across here. You need to be careful because there are gaps in these bridges, and some of them are quite nasty because you just don't see them. We've had people just fall through the smallest cracks. Now, the priority target is the Soul Judge. Our 1 minute's coming back up, so make sure we got the Holy Power, Final Reckoning, Execution Sentence, and we got a 10. We get to Divine Storm because there's more than 2 adds. And while we're at it, we're just pumping as much damage as we can into the Soul Judge. That's all we need to do. So the Soul Judge and Summoner are dead. We now kill the Goliath. Once the Goliath is killed, Jaina will summon a platform and we will be able to go across to the next platform and continue this fight. Now, Sylvanas is behind us because of timers and summons the wave behind us, which means we can just ignore it. Now, I Divine Steed across, she spawns, and I kicked early. I tried to kick early, but so much so that I actually missed the kick because it hadn't even gone out yet. Thankfully, there were other people over that were able to do that. But that's something that you do need to be wary of. So on this platform, you have a summoner and a Goliath to deal with. The summoners will just summon orbs. Now, as you can see there, we blew the summoner up, so we only had one set of orbs to deal with. But that particular mechanic becomes a problem going into the next platform, because it will summon a Soul Judge and a summoner, which is a fantastic time for us to hit wings, because you can see that wings is off cooldown, Final Reckoning's off cooldown, and so's Execution Sentence. We're about to, before this, you want to make sure that you separate so that you don't kill people with it. I made use of the gateway and then I charge across, making sure to hit the gap. I target the Soul Judge. I accidentally tapped targeted, which was a slight waste of time on my part, but then we just go into the burst. And if I'd been moved slightly across to the right, I could have probably hit those Final Reckoning with those orbs, killing them faster, but it's fine. So you can see that my DPS really kind of spikes here. Now, orbs are the priority. We need to get them down. We need to kill the summoner, and here come the waves. So we dodge them, we dodge Veil, and then we just keep going. Because what we need to do, I realise that I'm about to get caught in the back end of that. We need to get over because she's about to cast Ruin. This is the biggest one that causes problems. Because you have such a distance to cover with Ruin, you really need to have someone that can get over there. Enhancement Shamies, Demon Hunters, maybe a Cavalier Ret Paladin if you're really poking it. Like I have made it over there in the past, but that was a proper booking it moment. This bit's a little bit tight because she does do a series of abilities that you need to dodge. Because the problem is if you get hit by things like Veil, you then have a healing absorb on you that also does a considerable amount of bloody damage. It's not fun. So you're kind of playing the hokey cokey, but it's fine. You've then got Banshee's Wail, so you kind of scatter a bit. And if it's sequenced like this, you get a little bit more damage on her, which is good. We did have a couple of people die there, so I got a free use of wings. Unfortunately, it wasn't really beneficial because we do this transition bit. And then we go into the third phase. Now, the third phase, in the nicest way possible, is an absolute cluster monkey. The reason for that is because the more people you have in the raid comp, the harder this bit is. Because there's a lot of mechanics here where you want to spread out, you don't want to get hit by each other, And at the same time, the platforms are getting smaller and smaller because she puts a thing down on the ground that your tanks need to soak up and then dispel in a corner. So this purple stuff leaves pools. Now, the tanks will run over it, and this allows you to redistribute where it goes. So, Dover just steeded, picked them all up, he gets dispelled, and now they're all concentrated in one corner, which is fantastic. However, it does mean that as more and more people are in the group, you get more and more of those pulls, and the thing fills up faster. Not great. You also have things where you've got like Banshee's Well, where she's diving around, and you've got look, more purple things spawn, more purple things. You've then got Banshee's Fury, which is just a stupid amount of damage. And you've then got those Wailing Arrows. Now, Wailing Arrows, you actually need to jump onto another platform beforehand because they do damage to the rest of the raid based on proximity damage. So depending on how close you are when it goes off to that target, the more damage you're going to take. And these platforms aren't particularly big. So what you need to do is you need to jump over to another platform, get hit, and then jump back. So you need to use a defensive while you're away from the healers. I hate the timings for this particular part are really, really nasty. Because you can go to burst the moment you have them, and then she will disappear. She will do Veil or Banshee's Fury or whatever the hell she wants, and it will cause you to miss parts of your cooldown. Unfortunately, all you can do is just hold for a few seconds to make sure that she's done whatever annoying ability it is, and then just crack on. So this is why I have a lot to do learning this fight. I need to learn the timers, and I need to figure out when's actually best to hit the cooldowns and when to max them out. For these longer fights, much like Guardian of the first ones, it's probably worth me getting a different trinket than IQD. Or whether that be the PvP one, even a 226 or something, or something like Divine Instructor's Bell or Mythic Plus trinket. Just something that isn't necessarily going to then want to heal or give mana, because it starts getting to a point that I can't use the stats. And at this point we've just hit last, because at the end of the day all we need to do is we need to get Sylvanas to 50%. So we've got 10% health to go, and it's becoming a bit of a mess. You can see that I'm targeted with the arrow. I wait till 2, 1, it detonates on my side, and then I run back over. Now you've got Banshee's Scream, so we're trying to avoid each other. Just managed to find a space in between 2 DPS for that, but then we just crack on. So you can see how little space we really have to play with, because I'm now afflicted by 5 stacks of Veil. I have Healthstone, I have my Vial as a Kyrian, and I also have Lay on Hands. I've just had to use Lay on Hands there. I have 1 stack of the pool on me. I still have Veil on me, so I have a huge healing absorb. This is putting so much pressure on the healers, and as a result they're low on mana, which means that my IQD will give mana. Now I can't remember if I actually press IQD at this point or if I just ignore it, because it's 3% health and we're just trying to blow it up. You can see there that it gives the option to heal as well for a brief period of time, and if necessary you can use it as a kind of pseudo Lay on Hands, but again you kind of just, it became a dead trinket at this point in terms of DPS, and the call out was just to kill it, like just avoid damage, like avoid taking unnecessary damage and just murder it. There was a call for a mass dispel there to get the debuff off people, but there wasn't anything else we could do because this particular platform is just a pain. Thankfully though, she does go down, and it wasn't like the Echo fight where the fight just kept going. Poor people. But yeah, so that is the Sylvanas encounter. There is a bit manic, and I wouldn't necessarily say this was a guide per se, more of a talk through POV. Unfortunately I don't feel confident giving you guys a lot of advice with regards to this fight because I still need to do a lot of work on it. If you guys have any tips or tricks though, please do let me know. Hopefully you've liked it and you've liked this series as a whole. please comment, like, and subscribe either which way. And let me know what you guys think and what you'd like me to do next, or what I can do to improve. I hope you've all been well, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care.